Hello, this is Joyce, and I am still alive. I tell you what a last couple months, weeks, years this has been. I'm coming to you with what I hope is a little bit of a recap about Eden, now that I've had a few days to begin to digest just a little bit what these last years have been. And I think it's going to take me quite a long time to actually process, if ever. But I thought it was important for me to just put onto the record some of my thoughts at this point. It's very likely this will be a long video, so algorithms be damned. This is really just for kind of a video diary for my own sake, but also just to reach out to those of you who have been following us. One of the things I really got wrong about Eden is that I could never find an elevator pitch, which proved challenging in some situations. And I realize now at the end, I'm glad I couldn't, because we were creating something that simply didn't exist before. And it was something that I think needed to be experienced in person before you really understood the totality of what it was. And I don't mean to sound grandiose or whatever. It just that it was such a special conglomeration of different things that to explain it to somebody simply didn't do it justice. I made the decision early on not to film Eden in the beginning stages, because I really, especially coming out of COVID, I really wanted people in the room to experience it. And I think that was the power of it. Not only the performance of Eden, but the communal experience of being together in the theater to take this journey together. And I'm so glad we didn't capture it early on, because I really wanted people to be in the room together. Happily, we recorded it in Turku, and it will come out on Medici and Mezzo before too long. We did also stream it in Beijing, and I think about 15 million people viewed it. So that was pretty exciting. Eden. So I want to take a little bit of time to thank people. I want to thank the presenters, the amazing presenters in these almost 50 cities where we took it across 4 continents. They took a big leap with me, saying this is a crazy idea. The lack of elevator pitch means we don't really know what we're getting, but Joyce, we trust you. And they really went with me, and we were able to take this to some incredible venues and to change sort of the the atmosphere of the theater so completely, and to share this with people from all different walks of life and all different cultures, and to bring this. And I am so grateful for the trust of the presenters, also the teams at each venue, because Eden was a huge ask. We were sometimes in 2 hours having to unload a set, upload lights. Lighting boards weren't working. In Washington, we lost the electricity. We had issues with the set several different times. Every presenter was really sort of pushed to the max, and they really went above and beyond. And also, we're going to throw children on the stage during COVID still. I mean, the challenges were immense, and I still feel like almost every single place we went to was a mini miracle. So I have a huge amount of appreciation for the presenters. Again, the lack of elevator pitch. In order to make Eden possible, I had to do a lot of fundraising and a lot of resource raising. And I'm not very good at it. I don't enjoy it. I enjoy talking about the project a lot. But I'm not comfortable in going after, people and saying we need X amount. Eden was a huge project. We were transporting things around. We were doing educational outreach places, and everywhere we went. It required a lot of a resource. And I went to some friends, and I went to some beloved supporters, and I went to some real patron lovers of the arts. And I received so much support and so much yes. Joyce, we don't really understand what this is, but we believe in you. And I'm incredibly, deeply grateful for the support that came continuously, abundantly, and it meant quite a lot. The sad thing is the majority of you that supported us didn't actually really get to see Eden in person for a variety of reasons. I just hope it's enough to know that hearts were changed and we lit up the world with this idea of planting seeds and sharing this with so many people. So the amount of support that I got was extraordinary and deeply welcome. Part of that support went to ITAC, International Teaching Artists Collaborative, headed by the amazing Mike Roberts, who was the genius behind our Eden anthem, Seeds of Hope, who helped us write another song online called Endless Skies. And I know we're not done yet, Mike. But this idea of going around the world, providing workshops before we even landed on the ground. In Brussels, kids designed, and they took pictures of their neighborhood, and then they redesigned it in an eco-green way. They were like really going at this about how can we change the world, literally. We had schools coming together where they worked about water, about drought, about clean air, about how to recycle clothing. In Riga, they handed out bags made out of recycled T-shirts to everybody in the audience. 3,500 kids, again, across 4 continents, learning about the world they live in and the local issues that are plaguing them. And then they joined me on some of the great concert halls of the stage, of the world, concert stages of the world, and they got to sing about it. Give this message to the world about we can make a difference. We can do something vital and important. And most of all, we can hope. One of my favorite stories was in Amsterdam. We had children's choirs of all different levels and experience. And Amsterdam was a choir that was put together for Eden, and kids had never sung together before. And they walk onto the stage of the Concertgebouw and boom. And I said to them, you guys are really lucky because a lot of us take decades of study to work and work and work to get to go to the Concertgebouw, and many of us don't even make it. And here you guys are at 11 and you're on the stage. And this one kid raised his hand and he goes, does that mean we're going to go down in the history books? And it really stopped me in my tracks. And I thought, actually, yeah, you're going down in the history books tonight. Just Mahler stood there a few years ago. All the great musicians of the world have graced this stage, and tonight it's your turn. Every single choir, regardless of ability or experience level or nerve level, rose to the occasion, and they shared this message of hope. And I would tell them repeatedly how powerful their voice can be to speak out and speak up for what is important to them. And I saw by the time they would arrive in the theater around 3:30 or 4 o'clock, and I would work with them and the team would work with them, I saw them literally transform in front of my eyes. And they grew. And this is in large part to their amazing teachers and the amazing staff that would facilitate this and make it possible. Sophie Dand headed up this Eden engagement program tirelessly, doing the work of 20 people, doing much more work than I was able to compensate her for. And she really did an industry-defining job on this. I love you, Sophie, very much. This leads me to the children. Again, so many stories to share about this. Kids that finished their solo in tears because they were so overwhelmed at feeling the power of their voice being heard. the courage to get up next to me on the stages of Carnegie Hall and Concertgebouw in Barbican and the National Center for the Performing Arts in Beijing and the Teatro Colón in Buenos Aires and sing a solo. So brave, so courageous. One of my favorite stories was in Amsterdam. These teachers flew with this idea of Eden and creating, and they joined 3 choirs together from the International Business School and El Sistema Luxembourg. And so kids from a lot of different stratospheres of life. And there was a refugee girl, 13 years old, and it was her first time singing with the group. And she told us afterwards, you know, my whole life, I've never felt like I belonged anywhere. And tonight, for the first time, I feel like I belong. Even if that was the only effect of Eden, it would have been enough. That is the power of singing in a choir. It's a power of sharing art. It's a power of coming together as a community. There's a whole book in here about the experiences with the kids. Maybe one day I'll get to it. I took this idea to my incredible management team at Askenas Holt. And they just went, yes, we'll make it work. And there were so many times that I was questioning it. So many times I thought, I don't think this is worth it. I mean, we launched this during Omicron. There was one performance we lost nearly half the orchestra. Half of Il Pomodoro to COVID. And imagine being the orchestra manager and calling up trying to find substitute musicians with this program. So there's Cavalli and there's Myslevicek and there's a Portman and there's Ives and there's Copeland. I don't know how we did it. I don't know how we did it. Miracle after miracle. But always the orchestra, Il Pomodoro, was there going, yeah, we can make it work. Yeah, we'll do it. And Askenas Holt, this amazing touring team and my management team that just kept saying, Joyce, it's worth it. It's important. Whatever you need, we're going to do it. And I promise you, same as social media team and everybody, everybody was doing the work of 4 people. And everybody was doing exponentially more than was required. We had a lighting team and a set team, which consisted sometimes of just one person, that was problem solving like crazy, fixing things always so that we could get the lights dimmed and start with the unanswered question on time. And there was electrocutions and there was kidney stones and there was, it was really, there's a whole book in here, people. But I'm telling you, every single person on this project really believed in the power of planting these seeds and in the power of telling this story. And so every single person rose to the occasion. It continues to humble me, continues to blow me away, and very few people actually understand the scope of what went into making this happen for you. Which brings me to the audience. Thank you for coming. Thank you for following this. It does break my heart a little bit that I would post something about the children's workshop and it would have 2 comments. I don't care about social media. I love it. I'm here. But it's tiring. It is a great tool and I'm happy to connect with you all here. But I got a little bit discouraged. I was like, nobody cares about the education. And I want to crack the code about how to get people more excited about teaching people, about empowering them. I had the time of my life watching these kids blossom and watching the audience experience their courage, their power, their voice, and to share their local songs in their local language with the audience. Without fail, the audience stood up every single time. And in the room, the audience got it. At some point, this is my big mission. It's how do we get more people excited about arts education to where it's just we have to do this. But I know that those of you that were in the hall really felt it. You also took a chance with me on this program that just on paper looks insane, yet as we went on through these nearly, I think, 50 performances, it began to truly feel like Winterreise. And it began to truly feel like the only response to As with Rosie Steps the Morn was Ich bin der Welt abhanden gekommen. And it was the wonderful genius of Maxime, our conductor, and the orchestra Il Pomodoro, that we took a risk on this crazy combination of repertoire. But I really feel that it took us on a journey. It was something very internal and meditative in a way, and risky. And so from the bottom of my heart, I really deeply appreciate your staying with us and giving us this chance to experience it, to live it, to walk it with us. In our last performance in Warsaw, I was completely overwhelmed and completely taken by surprise. I didn't expect it, to where I actually couldn't sing at the end. And I have a lot of thoughts about that. But I said to the audience, we were in a city where there's this amazing slogan. I saw it actually on driving out of Warsaw. We are rebuilding something that should never have been destroyed. And Eden for me is all about creation and asking the question, what am I creating right now in this moment, through my dialogue, through my conversation, through my interactions, through my art, through my work? What am I creating? And I would tell the kids often that I can't control the headlines of the world. I can't control the atrocities that we're encountering. I can't wave a wand or sing a song and fix everything. But I can take care of this circle right here, this moment. In Arnhem, it was our third concert, and it was March of 2022, the same week that Russia invaded Ukraine. And we were all very upset in the orchestra. We were also in sort of Northern Europe, and so we were seeing train stations with these influx of people fleeing Ukraine, etc. And it's a very strong moment in the world. And we were all sort of battling, I think, this idea of what are we doing, a concert in the middle of all this, and we should be doing something stronger or something more powerful. And this choir in Arnhem had been developed and put together expressly for Eden. There was a local teacher who said, I've always wanted to start a children's choir, and this is the moment. And those kids came and they sang their hearts out. And at the end of the concert, they were screaming from the top of their lungs, this was the greatest day ever. And they were right. It was. It was also the worst day ever for children in another part of the world. And both of those things were true. And I would say equally true. And we have the power to create the greatest day ever wherever we are, in the context of which we are. And I think that is the Eden I'm looking for, and the Eden that this project invited you all into. I'm sure I'm going to meet kids in the coming years that say, I sang with you in Shanghai, and I sang with you in London, or I helped write that song. And I know that this is an experience that will stay with them. And I hope it will stay with those of you that witnessed it in person as well. It has changed me. It has changed me for the better. And to everyone who participated, took the journey with us, worked for, supported, believed in, fought for, thank you. We did something really good. We did something really good. Next,